Before anything else, a necessary direct correction because a considerable amount of what currently circulates online about a mysterious Voyager 1 signal is simply invented. In the past year, numerous videos and articles have claimed that Voyager 1 received a signal containing images of a humanoid figure, that a so-called NASA quantum core flagged a non-human structure embedded in its transmissions, that the spacecraft picked up rhythmic pulses at exactly 61-second intervals matching no known natural source, or that its final transmission carried a low-frequency hum accompanied by unexplained gravitational readings suggesting an undetected object lurking at the edge of the solar system. None of these claims appear in any official NASA communication, any peer-reviewed research paper, or any credible scientific source of any kind. They originate from speculative blogs, science fiction writers describing their own unpublished novels, and content specifically designed to generate attention rather than to accurately describe anything Voyager 1 has actually detected. This is worth stating plainly and directly, because the real story, the genuine signal scientists actually cannot fully explain, is considerably more interesting than any of these invented claims, and it deserves to be told accurately. To understand what Voyager 1 has actually detected that remains genuinely unexplained, you first need to understand where this spacecraft is and what it has actually been capable of measuring since leaving our solar system entirely. Voyager 1 launched in September of 1977, and in August of 2012, it became the first human-made object in history to cross the heliopause, the true physical boundary separating the protective magnetic bubble surrounding our sun from genuine interstellar space, the vast, largely unexplored region between star systems. It has remained out there ever since, currently sitting more than 15 billion miles from Earth. And of its original 11 scientific instruments, only 2 remain operational today, its magnetometer and its plasma wave subsystem, both providing genuine, continuously monitored data about the actual physical environment surrounding the spacecraft. The real signal at the center of this story was first identified in 2017, when Voyager 1's plasma wave subsystem began detecting something researchers had not previously cataloged: a faint, persistent narrowband emission embedded in the surrounding interstellar plasma, unlike anything the instrument had recorded before. This was not immediately obvious in the raw data. It took a graduate student at Cornell University, Stella Koch-Ocker, working through the spacecraft's accumulated measurements, using increasingly refined signal processing techniques, to actually isolate this specific signal from the surrounding instrumental noise, searching deliberately for anything hiding between the more obvious, already documented bursts of plasma activity that had been triggered periodically by distant solar eruptions reaching Voyager's location. After months of careful analysis, she identified a genuine continuous emission, present not for days or weeks, but persisting steadily for years at a time, a discovery published in the journal Nature Astronomy in May of 2021. Ocker described the nature of this signal in her own words, calling it very faint and monotone, occupying an extremely narrow band of frequencies, and explaining that what her research had actually uncovered was, in her own phrase, the faint, persistent hum of interstellar gas. This is worth being completely precise about, because the word hum, used accurately here to describe a genuine, measurable physical. Then, beginning in November of 2023, Voyager 1 experienced a considerably more serious problem, one that genuinely did threaten the mission's continued operation, and one NASA again explained clearly and directly, rather than leaving any ambiguity for speculation to fill. The spacecraft's radio signal continued arriving at Earth normally, but the actual data embedded within that signal had become unreadable, garbled beyond recognition by every method engineers initially attempted. After months of painstaking diagnostic work, conducted across a communication delay exceeding 22 hours in each direction, engineers eventually traced the problem to a single physically degraded memory chip within the spacecraft's flight data subsystem. A specific, identifiable piece of nearly 50-year-old hardware that had likely either simply worn out after decades of continuous operation or been struck by a highly energetic cosmic ray particle, a genuine elevated risk given Voyager 1's current position deep within. Interstellar space, fully exposed to a radiation environment its original 1970s designers could only partially anticipate. Engineers ultimately solved the problem by relocating the affected code to a different, functioning section of the spacecraft's limited remaining memory, restoring normal, readable communication in the spring of 2024. Notice what both of these genuine, real, well-documented anomalies actually have in common. NASA explained them directly, using specific, verifiable technical language, identifying actual physical components and actual identifiable failure mechanisms, and openly acknowledging both what was known and what remained, genuinely uncertain at each stage of the investigation. Neither explanation involved anything resembling a quantum core, a non-human structure, or any language even remotely suggesting an artificial or extraterrestrial origin. This is precisely how legitimate space agencies communicate about real anomalies. Transparently, technically, and without manufactured mystery, which is exactly why claims, dressed up in vague, dramatic language, offering no specific technical detail, no named researchers, and no verifiable published source, deserve genuine skepticism rather than uncritical acceptance. It is worth understanding why this specific kind of fabricated content about Voyager 1 keeps recurring, since the pattern itself is instructive. Voyager 1 occupies a genuinely unique, almost mythic position in the public imagination, humanity's most distant object, still transmitting after nearly 50 years, carrying a golden record intended as a message to whatever might eventually find it, drifting through a region of space no human being has ever visited or ever will. That combination of genuine, well-earned wonder makes it an unusually attractive target for invented content specifically designed to exploit that existing fascination, borrowing real, accurate details, the golden record, the immense distance, the genuine communication delay, and weaving them together with entirely fabricated claims about signals, structures, and contact that no legitimate source has ever actually reported. The genuine science, once separated cleanly from this kind of manufactured content, remains entirely worth your attention on its own honest merits. A spacecraft, built using technology that predates the personal computer, is still, right now, transmitting real, physically meaningful data from a region of space no human instrument had ever directly sampled before it arrived there. That data has already revealed a persistent, genuinely unexplained plasma emission that two competing, entirely natural physical theories are still actively working to fully resolve. It has revealed a magnetic field environment considerably more complex and dynamic than models built before Voyager's arrival ever predicted. And it continues, every single day, to push the outer boundary of what any human-made object has ever directly measured, a genuine, ongoing scientific achievement that requires no invented embellishment whatsoever to remain one of the most remarkable stories in the entire history of space exploration. So here is the honest, complete answer to what Voyager 1 has actually sent back that scientists genuinely cannot yet fully explain. It is a real persistent narrowband plasma emission, first identified in 2017, representing the natural vibration of interstellar gas itself, with two credible competing physical explanations still being actively investigated to determine which one is ultimately correct. It is not a message. It is not evidence of anything artificial. And every confirmed, documented anomaly this spacecraft has, genuinely experienced across nearly 5 decades of operation, has been explained by NASA using specific, verifiable, entirely conventional engineering causes, openly and transparently communicated to the public at every single stage. If you want to follow the real, ongoing research into what is actually causing this persistent interstellar signal, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the genuine science here remains an open, active question, and it deserves to be followed accurately rather than through invented claims that were never true in the first place.